So unreinforced masonry are very stiff, brittle, and fragile structures. These are typically older structures. We've talked several times about the 1933 Long Beach earthquake, and that's a really good point of reference for you guys with these structures. They're old. They really stopped building them after the 1933 Long Beach earthquake. And that's when we got the Field Act and all the other stuff we will talk about later this afternoon. So common failure mechanisms. The biggest one is going to be wall to roof or floor anchorage. It's likely inadequate or non-existing, and that will cause separation where the floor system and the wall can move away from each other. And then that means that this has nothing to stabilize itself on, and it is going down. So that is our biggest concern here, for sure. The next thing is diagonal cracking or X cracking in walls. So this is pretty common in concrete or unreinforced masonry. So this is what we call in plane. This is what we call out of plane. So out of plane is kind of, if this is our shear wall here, the loads are essentially perpendicular. In plane is the way that we design our our seismic force resisting systems to handle loads. So if you have an in-plane load, you can see an X bracing here. So we talked about with a reinforced masonry structure, it's a lot more likely to see the step bracing, and that's essentially the same as this X bracing or X cracking, except that this wall doesn't have the benefit of kind of like having the weak points. Like that's what we're seeing here, is that the blocks are weak and the blocks are strong and the mortar is weak. So it's able to control it a little more here without those defined blocks and weak paths. You'll just see an X here. And then some other common things that you may see would be parapet damage. That's one thing. So even if there is like a URM building that exists today, if you go on Google Earth or anything, you'll see that they've braced these parapets, because the parapet damage is a major concern, especially for, like, as we talk about all the time, our limit state is life safety. So we really want this guy to go outside, and then we do not want this parapet to come and fall on his head. So parapet damage, falling hazards are big things here. So yeah, and we'll talk, I guess we can talk about kind of retrofit at this point. So the way that you would retrofit this building is you basically add a new frame inside. So it's common to add like a steel moment frame, and then you tie in the walls, because you don't want the walls to go out, because they are still like fall hazards even if they're not resisting your loads. So you could still have this out of plane issue. So you could add a frame and then tie the walls in. I've also seen that adding wood frame shear walls here, and again tying the walls in, but having the walls take the load. And then of course up here with the parapet damage, you would be bracing those parapets back. And then to kind of avoid this in-plane damage, you're really just redirecting the lateral loads into whatever's next to it. So whether it's a frame or the shear walls, you're taking away the stress that would cause this X bracing. And also, so you would try and connect these in whatever way. You'll see that a lot on buildings. You'll see like a channel outside, and that's an indication that maybe they've put like a moment frame in here and they've tied it through the wall. So that, yeah, prevents the X cracking, prevents the out of plane damage, and then brace the parapets. So hopefully that's a pretty good background for you guys on URMs.